This is the Relevant Podcast.
It's episode 1225, 25 for 2025. Look at that. And it's the Relevant Podcast here in Orlando. I'm your host, Cameron Strang, and joining me from Loverland, Virginia is Jesse Carey.
Hello, hello.
From Nashville, our managing editor, downtown Emily Brown.
Hey, y'all.
So a little update. Derek can't join us today because he's sick. He'll be on the next episode. He promises. And Marty out in L.A., obviously, you guys are hearing this on Friday, so hopefully the situation's a little bit better, but we're recording this on Thursday. We were supposed to record it on Wednesday, and Marty couldn't make the recording because of the fires happening. He was with his family actually trying to vacation up in the Malibu area. And then they got diverted. They were like, well, we'll go to Santa Monica. And then Santa Monica caught on fire. And obviously the guys and Prop and a lot of friends are out there. I was talking to some other friends last night. One friend lost his house. And obviously like now it's down in Hollywood Hills and near Mosaic Church. And like, I mean, it's impossible to contain. I mean, it's unbelievable what's happening. It's already the worst, most destructive fire in LA history. So our thoughts and prayers to those guys out there. And
yeah, we'll be praying for everyone. Yeah.
Don't know what else to say.
It's so hard. I mean, one, it's just like hard to like wrap your mind around it, seeing pictures. But like even right now, I woke up this morning and it was 16 degrees in Nashville. Like it's just crazy how one side of the country is in like a winter freeze, the other one is on fire.
Why are you trying to make it all about you, Emily?
Okay, I was just saying that we're all going through stuff.
No, I get it. It's hard to sometimes contextualize something this huge when it seems, one, so far away, and two, so just like environmentally foreign. But definitely want to, pray for everyone who's, dealing with it. It's a terrible situation.
I have a friend that's like flying to Orlando today from LA. He's the one who lost his house, and he was. And I was like, oh my gosh, are you okay? He's like, I'm just angry. He's like, I'm angry. He's like, this happens every year. We aren't prepared. Like, what are we doing here? Like he said like a lot of the residents are really just angry over there. And right now, I mean, they're in a helpless situation. The firefighters and stuff, because the winds like are 80 miles an hour and you can't put that out, And so it's like, but the preparedness, hydrants running out of water because you didn't refill the reservoir. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do think it's, this is a whole separate thing, but, probably too early to kind of, I think there'll be a time to diagnose problems. But right now, I think that, kind of just making it about people on the front lines of this and the victims, and then kind of trying to figure out how to, address this in the future. But anyway, we're definitely praying for everybody. But hey, on a different note, maybe, like I said,
this is the pivot. This is the segue.
Well, yeah,
literally right before
he's trying. You can't call out the segue.
No, right before the show, I'll tell the listener. I was like, guys, Mark, we gotta. I mean, this is huge. I mean, this is, we got to talk about the fire. Our hearts, our thoughts are with Marty and our friends out there. How do we pivot to then funny?
Well, and I said there is no soft pivot. You just hard pivot. Well, for real. I mean, what are you going to do?
And it's even worse when you call it out.
But I'm not going to, make some sort of pun or something. So anyway, can I give a quick January? Okay, we talked about resolutions. I think that, Cameron, that was me, you, and Derek, right?
And then the show after that, we brought Emily and Marty into that convo as well. So we've all talked to resolutions or lack thereof. Yes.
So we're deep into it right now. We're recording on the 9th, and tomorrow is the second Friday in January, which I heard on a commercial. So it's got to be true that most people give up their resolutions the second Friday in January. So we're basically there. Okay.
Wait, why? Why a Friday? Because they're like, the weekend's coming. I want to have a nice dinner. I don't want to work out or what? Like, why Friday?
I would assume so.
Honestly, probably, yeah.
It was a one-liner in a commercial. Okay, so I think it was for like One Life Fitness or something. Yeah, but it makes sense. Like you're gonna make it through the first Friday because you're like, well, if I'm not doing the resolution through the first weekend, why even do it? But then at this point, you're depending on the year, 8 to 14 days into this thing, and it's the weekend, and you're like, you know what, I tried, but I got to cut myself a little slack here. Friday night, I'm going to abandon the resolution.
Or like, I've been good for a week and a half. I can have a little cheat day. Like that's moderation.
But then Then it rolls into Saturday.
And then you're like, well, then football's all day on Sunday.
Fun day. Sunday fun day. Obviously.
Monday I'm back. 3 days. I just don't feel like it.
And it's a Monday. I got a case of the Mondays, and then it's just. It's
I'll get going hard on Tuesday.
Yeah. But I downloaded there's an app that I don't know if you guys seen it advertised. It's called MyFitnessPal. Okay. And I'm not, they're not a sponsor. Okay. But
very clearly.
Yeah. But it has a lot of functionality in it, but I only use it to track what I'm eating in January. Okay. So you put in like your calorie goal, and then everything you eat, you have to punch into the app. And I found it, here's the best part about it is like, I pretty much have an awareness of whether something's good or bad to eat. Usually I just ignore that awareness entirely. But for people who hate, we're on text threads. I'm not a texter. I hate downloading apps. Like, as you guys know, I'm involved with like a lot of stuff with like, kids' sports or schools or church or whatever, and everything has an app, and I hate it. Like, I do not want to download an app for everything. Okay, like just make me use the native functionality on the phone. I hate all apps. I just do. It's like I got to download something, then I got to update, and it's a whole thing.
I hear you, Grandpa. I totally am with you.
Like, why can't we just? But anyway, I downloaded the app. And the main thing is, like, when you eat something, you have to punch it in. And that's very inconvenient for me. So there's been times where I'm walking by, like, something I want to eat, and I'm like, if I eat it, I got to punch it. I got to open the app and punch it in and find it. That's a whole thing. So I'm not eating a lot, mainly out of laziness for the app, out of disdain for doing things on my phone. But when I signed up for it, the point is, when I signed up for this thing, it gave me one of those things. How'd you hear about us? I hate that too. Okay. It's none of your business, none of your beeswax. I get what you're trying to do. You're trying to establish the effect. It's not my job to say if effective your marketing is. Don't put that on me. Okay. You should be lucky I'm downloading the app because it's not something I do. I can't even return a text, much less go to the app store.
I always, whenever they ask where'd you hear about us? I always write in relevant podcast. Like always, just for no reason. Just like
even if they've never like advertised with us, you just 100%.
Because then now we're on their radar. Maybe they'll check us out and throw a little bit more money our way, or a little bit of money at all.
Well, anyway. So I was the options were like Instagram or whatever news, email, banner ad, social media, whatever it is, and then one of them just said Adam Devine, like the actor. Okay. Oh, and I would say that I would venture
for MyFitnessPal.
Yes, I would venture this. Not a well-known enough actor to just have a first name and that's it. Okay, like I feel like we all know. You guys know who Adam Devine is, right?
Of course,
I do. Because he's in the Righteous Gemstones and stuff like that. But I always get his name mixed up with Adam Levine of Maroon 5. Okay, so like when you said Adam Devine, the picture in my head was Adam Levine. So, I know Adam Devine.
I had the same thing. Okay. So I'm like, I have all these broad options of social media platforms and randomly Adam Devine in there. And it was very confusing. So much so that I thought it was some sort of error on the interface. Like, why is Adam, you know what I mean? It didn't say Adam Devine, parenthetically, Righteous Gemstones, Workaholics, Modern Family, or whatever.
Right.
It was just his name. So of course I had to select
a podcast or something. Maybe they sponsor his podcast.
Well, he has the Workaholics podcast, but anyway, I went on with confusion, and I have no beef with Adam Devine. I just, like I said, it's not like it says Tom Cruise because everyone knows. Like if my parents were updating this, it would be like, who is this Adam Devine that supposedly is spreading the word about this app somehow?
He's a spokesperson.
Yeah. Well, so this is props to, and this is just the state of media we're in. I was like reading the news the other night, and it was like an interview with Adam Devine about, his career. And basically the whole interview was about how he lost a lot of weight with MyFitnessPal, and he's just working it in there. And I was kind of impressed by how organic it was, but, but I would say this to the people at MyFitnessPal. Add some context here.
They're listening because I put in relevant podcast when it asked, how'd you hear about us? So
yeah, but
they're tuning in right now.
Or I want to just have like the random comedians' names in there. You know what I mean? Like, did you hear us because of Steve Martin? Because if Steve Martin's talking about us, we'd like to know. Like, just throw random names in there.
I like it.
That's really random. I'm actually interested to hear why Adam used MyFitnessPal, because like I think I've used it before. I'm pretty sure there's a free option, and I'm like, Adam, you have access to, like, you have money. You could probably get like a personal trainer and like a nutrition. Like you could go the rich way to do this.
Say that, because I read an in-depth interview about his motivations last night.
Listen, it works. I several years ago, pre-COVID, lost like 50 pounds by meeting with a nutritionist and stuff, and she told me to use MyFitnessPal, and it really does work, Jesse. Like, because you don't mindlessly snack when you're thinking, crap, I know that each one of these chips is 20 calories. It just changes the way you think about the food you consume, because you're more aware of what you're doing.
Not only that, it's like, oh, great, I got to pull my phone out of my pocket and open an app. I hate this. I hate it. And so I'm choosing not to eat for long stretches.
You can save like your favorite or your regular stuff, like my bologna sandwich, go to lunch or whatever. You can just pop that in and then it's in a drop down. So you don't have to like type it in every time. It's just like right there, That's why
I've only eaten 3 things. I'm eating boiled eggs, a bunch of rice, and then lettuce. Protein shakes. Yeah. And that's it. Yeah. And I just select them throughout the day. And so far that's going well.
And would you say you're happy?
Well, until it comes out, I'm ridiculously malnourished and you desperately need an IV.
One of the things I liked about it,
at least you look like Adam Devine. So like,
one of the things I liked about it is like all the restaurants and stuff, like their menus are already in the app. So you can just like, if you go to drive-through or whatever, it's like already right there. You don't have to like look up the calories or whatever. So yeah. Anyway, it actually is a helpful tool.
So put in relevant podcasts and not Adam Devine. Adam Devine seems to be doing
other relevant podcasts. Always.
Adam Devine's doing fine. He's got like 4 TV shows. I don't think he needs.
He doesn't need the bump. The MyFitnessPal bump.
MyFitness coin. Like,
we need the MyFitnessPal bump.
You don't need that MyFitness bag. Give us some love.
Yeah. All right. Well, we have a great show in store for you today. Coming up, we talk to King's Kaleidoscope, one of our favorite bands. They have a new project coming out, right, Emily?
Yeah, they're doing this like immersive virtual experience. It's really very experimental, very interesting.
Wait, like those Van Gogh shows where you just go into a warehouse and they project art on the walls?
Yes, but like virtually, it was a little odd hearing about it, but like after hearing the heart behind it, I was like, oh, I actually want more of this.
I love stuff like that. I love, taking big swings, like people trying stuff. It may or may not work. Here's another one. I'm not comparing King's. I have a lot of respect for King's Kaleidoscope. I think they're really great artists. But I just love when people just take big swings. It's like this Robbie Williams biopic that's coming out.
The monkey.
Where for some reason he's played by a chimpanzee, and it's not really clear. Like,
dude, it like something. I'm going to say the wrong numbers, but it cost something like $84 million to make, and it was playing in limited release over the weekend, and it made like $60,000, and limited, whatever, but that's how they test to then go wide. And so but you can't really tell, except you can. A per screen average of like, and I'm going to say the wrong name. Let's just say a movie that was successful recently did the limited release thing, and it made $90,000 per screen. And the Robbie Williams Monkey movie made $1,200 per screen. But so like even proportionally, it's a bomb.
But that makes me like the decision even more, because they had to know. They had to know that this is
halfway into the CG rendering going, I don't know if this is a good idea.
But if there's a pitch meeting, go ahead, Emily.
Well, I was going to say, like, people are obviously making fun of him for like, why didn't you not just either cast someone or like play yourself in it? Here's the thing. Do you guys know who Robbie Williams is? Like, that's been the debate online, is like,
of course.
But there's a lot of Americans that I think they would recognize his songs, but it's like Adam Devine, where they're like, I don't know that name off the top of my head.
Yes. Okay. If you're too young for it, but in the early 2000s,
I know who he is, because
in the early 2000s, he had legitimate hits, big hits, right?
But I know
he fell out of favor in the US after the early 2000s. And, he kind of like, name any number of bands that fell off the radar.
Sure.
But apparently in the UK, he's like Elton John. Like, he's a god still. Mm-hmm. Like, he never fell off in the UK. So apparently he's an icon. He's just not an icon here.
He's their Adam Levine. The UK stopped giving that guy any notice quite a long time ago. Here, Adam Levine's still rocking halftime shows from time to time.
How'd you hear about MyFitnessPal, Robbie Williams? Just to type it in.
But here's what I love about it. It's like, he didn't have to take a swing. Like you said, he's got a big following in the UK. If they would have made a straight up Robbie Williams biopic, they probably would have said easily in the black. You know what I mean? Like, we know the roadmap for a pop music biopic, but he's like, no, dude, it's a biopic. But I will be played by a monkey. Like, and I can't really explain
there's
it.
a metaphorical reason. There's got to be. I don't know anything about the movie other than I've seen clips. But I'm just like, is it a fantasy montage, or is there some, like, there's got to be a reason why he's personified as a chimp?
I think in the trailer he kind of allude, or maybe it wasn't the trailer, maybe I watched an interview, but like he does kind of allude, like he always felt just like abnormal or like out of the box kind of thing. So I don't know why he picked a monkey of all things, but I think to him, he's like, this just represents how different I am. And it's like, okay.
You know what, though? Talking about biopics taking a different approach, though, I saw the Pharrell Lego documentary, and in fact, it was nominated in the documentary category. So it's like, it's not just like it's a factual documentary, and it wasn't good. And I love Legos and I love Pharrell, and it bombed. It bombed. Yeah. Like, for Lego movies blow up. They do really, really well. It lost money. And I'm just like, why did they do this? It just seems like an odd decision on both sides. It
does. But I love, though, because I heard something with Pharrell. I heard an interview with him about it. And like, he didn't want to do a straightforward biopic. He considers himself a creator. He wanted to take a swing and do something that had color and building blocks and just like the idea of it. Again, artists taking big swings, even if it doesn't work. I think we need more of that. Like, there's a movie. Do you guys know anything about Hundreds of Beavers?
Yes.
No.
Cameron, do you know Hundreds of Beavers?
No. This sounds terrifying, though. Is it a horror movie?
No, it's a comedy.
It sounds like one of those jokes like, would you rather fight one horse-sized beaver or 1,000 beaver-sized horses? Like that kind of a thing. Hundreds of beavers?
That's essentially the plot of the movie. Okay, so I'm going to read the synopsis of the film. Have you seen the film, Emily?
I haven't seen it, but I've seen a lot of people talk about it.
Okay, this is a synopsis of Hundreds of Beavers. In the 19th century supernatural winter epic, a drunken Applejack salesman must go from zero to hero and become America's greatest fur trapper. It is a silent film, okay, that is black and white, basically about this fur trapper eluding hundreds of people in beaver costume with basically Tom and Jerry sight gags for the entirety of the 2 hours. Okay. It's impossible to describe. Okay. But I just love somebody's like, dude, I'm going to make a movie where it's black and white. There's no words. And it's just beavers playing pranks on this poor fur trapper for 2 straight hours. And he did it. And look,
is it like supposed to be like real? Like beavers are clever and they're like doing stuff, or is it like
it's cartoonish? It's cartoony, but it's very difficult. But either way, it's not. I'm not talking about. It just
sounds like something on Cartoon Network. It doesn't sound like a movie. It just sounds like a silly cartoon.
But the thing is, it is a movie, and that's what I love about it. That he was like, "No, dude, it's got to be a movie. It's got to be feature length." And the point, it's not the merit of the project. It's people taking humongous swings, whether it's a monkey playing Robin Williams, whether it's a 2-hour beaver prank movie, or you know what I mean, or Pharrell with Legos. I think art is better when there is no caution to the wind and there is no commercial consideration. Let's just take some swings here. I could be wrong.
I agree. One of our biggest Instagram posts last month was Joel Houston saying Christians need to be more adventurous in the art we make, right? And everybody agreed. It's huge response. Anyway, I always think about, like, with music or with independent media, I get it. Like, I think when I see things that are finished or, come out, I think about the pitch meeting. I think about the creative brainstorm that led to this thing. I always, my brain just reverse engineers almost anything. Like, how did that happen? Right. So when you're doing music, or you're doing, you're an artist or you're a visual artist or something like that. I get that you want to just color outside the lines because you can make it, you can do it yourself. What I don't get is when movies, which involve hundreds of people, like really weird movies, get greenlit. I'm like, how did they pitch the beaver idea? Who said that sounds like a great movie without seeing it, for themselves to understand the visual quality or the aesthetic? They're just in a pitch meeting with like storyboards and they're like, yeah, let's greenlight that. Here's millions of dollars. That's crazy to me, but good for them.
I mean, that's there. I don't know what studio. I'm pretty sure it was an independent operation. It appears to not have a significant budget, hundreds of beavers, but it seems like a personal project that was probably off book. But there are studios. You look at, the big ones like A24 and Neon. That's like, we'll make our money on the Civil Wars, right? Like we'll have a couple breakouts that, but they're going to fund a lot of movies that we know probably there's a 60-40 chance this one is either going to blow up or everyone's going to hate it and no one's going to watch it. And they're willing to roll the dice and not do the Netflix algorithm thing where it's like, well, if it has this formula, we know it'll get this much viewing time and this much money. I like people that are like, either it works or it doesn't, but we're going to do it. I agree. I so appreciate that.
A24 is a case in point of like, I can't figure out how this movie got greenlit, the studio, because the visual aesthetics, I'm even thinking of some of the really weird, like the Everyone, Everything, Everywhere, whatever that one was, it had like different timelines.
Everything, Everywhere, All at Once.
Thank you. Like, I'm just thinking like, it's not about the script. You can't read the script and see it, how the director envisions it visually. You know what I mean? Like, how did they say yes? And a lot of times it's first time directors. Like, so it's not like you can look at somebody's work and go, oh, they have a certain aesthetic. We like that aesthetic. We'll greenlight this project. We believe in them. A lot of time it's like, this is their first breakout project. And so it's like, how do they know? That's always interesting to me.
Yeah.
But, good for them. Take it a swing.
Yeah, exactly. But for everyone that like, breaks out, there's one that, what's the one that looking at, like Beau is Afraid, like the Joaquin Phoenix movie that just nobody saw. And it was really weird and got really, polarizing reviews, but they're like, no, they seem equally, look, they have shareholders. I think A24 has some sort of IPO, but either way, they're accountable to someone with their books, but they're still willing to just gamble on art for the sake of art and let the marketplace do it.
But okay, let's say Joker Part 2 or Do or whatever, which was a critical failure, a box office failure. It did exactly what you just advocated for. Take a swing, do something weird, unusual, unexpected. They made a musical. It did, but it didn't work. Nobody liked it. My thing is like, again, so many people are involved. At what point do the people involved realize this isn't working? We got to push through anyway because we've already spent $200 million. You know what I mean? Did anybody have the self-awareness that this was going to bomb?
What's interesting is like studios do pull, like there was one, I think it was like 2 years ago, they were, I think it was Warner Brothers was making like, I think the Batgirl movie, and it was like 97% done. And for some reason they completely scrapped the project because at first, like they just felt like it wasn't going to do well in theaters. So like sometimes they do just eat it. Like it doesn't happen often, but
then they still put out Madam Web. So it's like, why?
No, it's different theater, but yeah.
But like, I mean, I understand the thing. We're at the finish line. We just got to put it out. Sure. Oh, well, recover some of our losses. I mean, studios do all the time with test screenings. Like they'll go in. Like I remember we were pretty close to Ben-Hur with MGM and Paramount back in like 2016. We were friends with some of the producers. And I remember like I went to Morocco, saw it filmed. It was crazy. The scale of it, they spent like $250 million on it. It was crazy. And then when it went into test screening, it was getting terrible feedback. And so they went and reshot a bunch of stuff, trying to just salvage the movie. But then they knew they had a dud on their hands. And so we were going to do like big, Jesse, I don't know if you remember, but I mean, we were talking about doing like fly out giveaway contests and like really do a huge push with us. They were talking about spending like with just relevant, like I'll tell numbers. They were talking about spending like $350,000, like huge promo. And then all of a sudden they were like, we have 10. Because they just like the studio just cut like cut their losses and like we just got to move on. And of course it bombed because they didn't even market it. They didn't support it. That's interesting to me too. You know, like at what point they only found out they had a dud on their hands when the movie was finished. They already spent $250 million, you know?
Well, I have a take specifically on the Joker movie, and this isn't necessarily original take, but you know, it's a Todd Phillips movie, right? And there's the old thing, like 3 for them, 1 for us. Like if you get a couple for the studio, they basically let you do your own thing. You know, Todd Phillips did Joker, which won the studio and Academy Award. He did all 3 Hangover movies. You know, he's made a lot of money for studios, right? But I've heard other critics suggest this too, that he almost did this at like, you know, the Joker movie was pretty much universally reviled. Okay. But I had heard that he was so disturbed that, you know, the Joker was supposed to be a commentary on, essentially what happens to society when they create this sort of outsider. But the outsider has this sort of like victim complex and wants to take matters into his own hands, sort of like commentary on like what they like Reddit incel culture and people who just make themselves the victims and think the world is their source of their problems. So they're going to take their anger. It was supposed to be sort of a morality tale about why not to do that. And so many people saw Joker as the hero of that film that he almost got mad at the fan base and wanted to do something when he did have artistic license as like, you got it all wrong. And this is sort of my commentary on that. I'm going to make something you hate because you love the wrong part of what I made.
Do you think Joaquin and Gaga were on board with that? We want to make something you're going to hate?
I don't think they really realize. I think, and I could be.
That's what I'm saying. At what point do they realize this is bad?
Well,
you know what I mean?
Listen, there's a clip from the premiere where the first time they actually see the finished product, because you guys have been involved in you know, whether adjacently or talking to people who've been involved in films firsthand, right? A lot of times you don't really know the finished product until you can see it. Like it's very hard to realize, you know what I mean? Like you could think you're making something totally different than the final product because, you know, you shoot it non-sequentially.
Yeah, the edit is everything.
You're really trusting the vision of the director. There's a clip, you can go find it at the premiere where the you know, where people, you know, the kind of credits come up and Joaquin Phoenix leans over to Lady Gaga and says, "This is terrible. People are going to hate this." Like he literally the first time, at Cannes, he leans over and says, "This is terrible. People are going to hate it." And like you could tell the realization hit him. Like this was intentional. Like this,
and you can see her kind of go like, "No, it's not that bad." Like trying to like kind of comfort him because like he realized like this is not good. I will say I watch a lot of movies in theaters. That is the closest I've ever gotten to walking out of a theater during a movie in a very long time. Like it was bad.
I did walk out of the first Joker, but not because of the movie per se. It was just like, it was like a
bad meal
Saturday
before.
afternoon. No, I was in Nashville. I had a flight at like 5, you know, we had lunch. And so we just like had a couple hours to kill. Like, oh, let's just grab a movie. Let's see a movie real quick. And it was just like the afternoon. It was a nice afternoon in Nashville. And the Joker, like it started and it was just so dark and it was so heavy. And I had just left On Site, the counseling place. Like that's why I was in Nashville. So like I had just had a very emotional, heavy week and was about to fly home. And the Joker was not the palate cleanser. And so I was Joker, like, so I ended up leaving. We just ended up going to some stupid, like, you know, shoot 'em up movie or whatever, you know. So
yeah. Jesse, I don't know if you saw it. Joker 2, I would say 10 times darker than the first one. Like it was like I walked out of there genuinely feeling heavy. And it was like, I don't like this.
I can't handle the oppression stuff, the spiritually heavy. I can't handle that. Oh, it was the Will Smith shoot 'em up movie where he like played his younger self. That's what I ended up seeing instead of the Joker. Do you remember that?
I think you were the only one that saw that movie.
Played his younger self.
He plays himself young and current age. Like he goes back and forth or something.
Was this pre-slap?
Well,
it was a terrible movie. It was just I already bought a movie ticket, so we just went over to that theater.
But the only other artist, and I haven't seen the new Bob Dylan movie, but to see how much they address this, but the only other artist that would intentionally try to anger his most loyal fans for
Bob Dylan.
was artistic for artistic reasons, was like, you're trying to paint me into a box. You like my art for the wrong reasons. And I'm going to do something, not because I think it's the best, but because I need you to know you got it wrong. And like he's repeatedly done that. Like, and you get a sense with the Joker Part 2, that is what this is. It's like, this might not be, considered my best film, but it needs to be said. It needs to be said that.
Why would the studio spend $200 and something million on that?
I think because the first one did so well that they were like, okay, maybe like he's got it figured out. He knows what, it was such a surprise hit. But I think they thought this was going to be another. But don't you think
in this day and age where like media companies are struggling, right? Like we can't be throwing money away, right? Don't you think like such a massive bomb would like almost blacklist you in Hollywood? Like we can't trust you anymore with our money. I mean, I wouldn't hire him to do a $200 million movie next, I'd be like, here's 20 million. Go prove yourself again.
I think there's a small echelon of producers, filmmakers, and artists that will find funding no matter what. Like if Christopher Nolan did something, if Christopher Nolan's next movie was so weird and everyone hated it, their studio's still lining. They're still lining up, right? Like they
Shyamalan for 15 years was kind of that way, just because of Sixth Sense. Like it was like we're just keep trying for another one, Yeah. All right. Well, there you go. King's Kaleidoscope experimentation. That's where that came from. All right. Stay tuned. Up next, after the break, it's Relevant Buzz.
Today's podcast is brought to you in part by Mercy Ships. Globally, 5 billion people lack access to surgical care. In sub-Saharan Africa, there's only one surgeon for every 200,000 people. Mercy Ships provides free, life-transforming surgeries for people who have little to no access to medical care. They help the blind see, straighten twisted limbs, remove deadly tumors, treat cleft conditions, and so much more. With state-of-the-art hospital ships, they provide safe surgery to children and adults living with treatable conditions, and it's completely free of charge. They do all this work with an all-volunteer crew of professionals who donate their time and talents. Surgeons, stewards, nurses, engineers, and more make the world a better place. Your donation today provides free, safe surgeries to people in desperate need of help. All gifts are matched, so please donate today at mercyships.org/relevant.
Today's podcast is brought to you in part by Tim Tebow's book, Look Again. Have you ever wondered what would change if you truly believed you were infinitely valuable to God? In his New York Times bestselling book, Look Again, Tim Tebow reveals the powerful truth that when we learn to see the image of God in every person, including those we struggle to love, everything changes. Tebow shares incredible stories from his work with people the world often overlooks, and it will challenge you to stand up to the lies, rediscover the worth that everyone has, and impact the world for good. Find Look Again by Tim Tebow. Available now wherever books are sold.
Okay. Hey, I want to address something real quick before we get into Relevant Buzz. We've been getting emails, a handful of emails, but messages online. People are saying, bring the music back in between the segments. Okay. I got to address this, y'all. We didn't just take it away to take it away. We had a reason behind it. So why did it exist in the first place? In the early days of the podcast, there were no commercials, but we had segments of the show, obviously, like a late night talk show or a morning show or something like that. And so how do you separate the segments? Commercial breaks. Well, early days of podcasting, we didn't have commercials. So we played music to just kind of like give a buffer while we transitioned the show. Then we started having commercials, and so it's like now you're sitting there for like several minutes in between the segments, and we didn't like that. So A, it was partially to speed up the show and make it flow better. B, and this is the main reason, we're working to take the show to video, and there's certain things you've got to do to play nice with YouTube, and copyrighted music does not play nice with YouTube. So if we leave music in the show, we can't monetize the show on YouTube, and we need to monetize it to pay for our time and effort to take it to YouTube. So the inevitability is that the future of the show isn't going to have music anyway. And with all the commercials and reading commercials and stuff, we just thought, let's just wean people off of the music now. So when we go to video, it won't be such a shock to the system. So, but y'all, we're going to, and curating music and finding new music is something we enjoy doing, obviously. So go check out our Spotify playlist. We keep updating them. We're going to rename the Heard on the Relevant Podcast playlist to just Relevant Recommends. We'll update it at least twice a month, if not more frequently than that. And we'll post about it on social when it's updated. But just go subscribe to our playlist on Spotify, and that's a good way to keep your finger on the pulse of new music because we enjoy doing that. All right, makes sense. Cool. All right, it's time for
Relevant Buzz.
Tell us what's happening at the intersection of faith and culture this week, Emily.
Well, speaking of music, I do have a little bit of music news. This week, Rolling Loud California announced their lineup, and Christian rapper Miles Minnick is on the set list.
That's crazy.
So if y'all remember a few weeks ago, Rolling Loud Miami had like a small Christian hip hop showcase set where there were a few different artists who had like one song. And that was the first time there'd been any sort of like Christian hip hop presence at Rolling Loud. This time Miles has like a full set by himself. He's on the full list. It's just really exciting to kind of see Christian hip hop like really breaking out in this way. I
am curious what the crowd's response is going to be, because what we learned with the Miami one was, I mean, it's the world's largest hip hop festival, right? So it's like very not safe for the little ears, let's put it that way. Well, the fans of No Big Deal and Caleb Gordon and whatever aren't going to go buy a $200 ticket to see their guys for 10 minutes. And then they're there with a lot of explicit content that they don't listen to. I'm curious with Miles, is it going to be the same thing? He's a West Coast guy. It's an LA show. Is his fans going to come out, or is he just going to be performing to 12 people who are just waiting for the next artist? It'll be interesting to see what the response is, but good for him. And, more Christians in mainstream stages. I love it,
oh, go ahead, Emily.
Well, I was just going to say, to your point, like it is going to be interesting to see the crowd, because like he's playing on the same day that A$AP Rocky's headlining, but you also have people like Sexy Red, YG, like definitely non-Christian artists there.
Go sexy.
Yeah.
Sorry,
those are the people that are going to be front row at Miles, I'm sure.
but
hopefully they are.
But to the other side of that coin, Cameron, some of those festivals are a good time to get like exposure and win new fans, because there's a degree of open-mindedness to like artistic credibility, especially at hip hop festivals. I would say more so than like pop festivals. Like what's Tyler the Creator's? What's his?
The Camp. I know what you're talking about.
But artistic credibility is such a big deal there over just like fame and name recognition. I mean, Drake got booed off when he brought Drake on the stage at his festival. The fans booed him off the stage because they were like, bring us credibility, not recognition. Like
not popular. Yeah.
And so like, my point is, for an artist like him, this is an opportunity, because it's not necessarily pop sensibility and name recognition that wins fans at some of these music festivals, especially.
So Miles will probably be going first. So people arrive trying to get a good spot for Sexy Red and Playboy Cardi coming up later. They listen to Miles, they hear the gospel for the first time, they get saved, then they get really convicted listening to Sexy Red right afterwards, and they leave, and Rolling Loud goes out of business. That's what's going to happen, because Miles Minnick is going to win everybody to Jesus.
Seems like a reasonable prediction.
Yeah, I think that's the only way that's going to end.
Yeah. All right, what else you got?
Okay, well, in the last couple of months, I know we've covered some NFL players who I've just said some really outspoken things about their faith, which we love. But I also want to highlight college players who are also being really outspoken, because we saw this a lot during the bowl games throughout the holidays. I'm sure you guys watched them. But like before the Peach Bowl, you had Texas running back Nick Sanders and Arizona State running back Cam Scatterbo playing together before the game.
Was it before? I thought it was after. It was right after.
Sorry.
I watched that game. Scatterbo, or whatever his name is. Yeah. Like he had a great game, but they ended up losing. And as he's walking off the field, the star of the other team, the winning team, pulled him aside and said, "Can I pray for you?" And they kneeled down and he like laid hands on him and like prayed for him. It was really moving. It was all on camera. I watched the whole thing happen.
Scatterbo not only had a great game, he had one of the greatest college performances of a running back I've ever seen. So much so that like in the second quarter, when they were down by 2 touchdowns, and this went to double overtime, I watched that game too. They clipped to him on the sideline, and he's basically, and I'm not going to do a football thing here, but even if you don't, if you've ever seen a sport where one single guy is carrying the entire team on his back, he was throwing touchdowns, he was receiving them, he was running every play, he was involved.
And he's like 5'9".
He was throwing the ball to himself. Yeah, got it.
Almost. Like they cut to him on the sideline.
It was wild.
And he looks exhausted. This is the second quarter, and they're like, Cam Scatterbo has been vomiting profusely coming into the half. And it's like, that's my kind of guy. Like it's not even the first.
He's Rudy. He's like, leave it all on the field.
And literally the commentators didn't just say he's not, he's showing signs of exertion. It's not just he's vomited. They literally noted it was profuse vomiting. And I'm like, good for that guy, leaving it all on the field. Anyway, shout out to Cam Scatterbo.
Did you watch the Pop-Tarts Bowl? I didn't watch a lot of bowls. If the Gators aren't involved, I don't usually watch sports, but I did watch Scatterbo for some reason.
The
Pop-Tarts Bowl was so funny. Like I love this era we're in. It's the two Orlando bowls. They're both here in Orlando. The Pop-Tarts Bowl and the Cheez-Its Bowl, the Citrus Bowl. They're both doing bizarre mascot situations. Yeah. The Cheez-Its Bowl, a Cheez-It married a couple on the field right before the game. A Cheez-It was the
dream
officiant.
wedding.
I know, right? And the Pop-Tarts Bowl, Emily, I don't know.
I saw the Pop-Tarts Bowl. They were going crazy. And good for them.
If you're not in the playoff college championship games, which are serious, if you're just playing a bowl game, lean into the absurdity of the sponsorship. I love the Pop-Tarts Bowl. Everything about it. I love that, like, last year, the Pop-Tart that was sacrificed and eaten reappeared this year. Yeah. And it looked like a burn victim because all the frosting was eaten off of him. But he was like walking around. And if you notice at the very end of the game, when the Pop-Tart goes into the massive toaster, there's a shot of the upper bowl that was empty where the last year's burned eaten one is just sitting there holding a sign saying, live your dream. And he's all by himself in the upper bowl, like 1,000 feet away, just watching his friend get sacrificed. It's so absurd. It's the greatest thing ever. I love it.
But to be fair, we're coming out of the reason they've had to go all in on these like humorous mascots is because we're coming out of an era, the live animal era, where there was like a rare Bengal tiger in a cage just sitting there at the back of the end zone for some reason. And it's like, should we have that endangered jungle cat here? Or like people on horseback, like wrangling a bull, out of the tunnel.
They still do that in Texas, dude. They still run around with
literal birds of prey swooping around the stadium. We've kind of moved away from that, and I kind of see why. Like, maybe it's not good to have one of the most rare animals on the planet just sitting on a cage, next to a Gatorade bin. But like, they had to up their game because it was basically becoming an exotic zoo on the sidelines.
Now we have Cheez-Its officiating weddings on the field.
I just feel bad for the people in the costumes because I'm like, if I was the sacrifice Pop-Tart, everybody would know about it. But it's like, how do you?
They hold it very secret. Like they have
handlers.
That's
so sad.
Stuff. Yeah. No, they have handlers. They work out. And it's like they had like 5 different Pop-Tart flavor mascots and running around during the game and like taunting the refs and stuff. Like Pop-Tarts were messing with the refs during the game. It was the greatest thing ever. And then at the end of it, the MVP of the winning team chooses which Pop-Tart they're going to kill and eat. And so he wanted cinnamon roll, and then cinnamon roll like was excited and goes up to his death and waves goodbye to everybody before he comes out. That's great. I'm sorry. We're gonna play clips of people talking about Jesus, and I'm sorry. I'm very distracted by the Pop-Tarts Bowl.
Listen, college football has just leaned into the spectacle, and I don't care. Like the best part of game day is, on Saturday mornings where they broadcast before the game, is they do whatever camp they broadcast from a different campus every Saturday morning, and they do they let a student come out to try to kick a field goal. And they're literally talking trash to the kid, telling him how bad he is at a kicker, how he's not going to make it. And there's like scholarships on the line, and it's merciless. You know what I mean? Like this isn't like a gimme, like, we're just going to give him the scholarship anyway. No, it's like, get out of here. You should have practiced harder. We'll see you next week. I love it. Bring some dramatic cruelty back to the
dramatic cruelty. More absurdity, more cruelty. That's
because
they
asked the kid, like, do you think kickers are real football players? And most of them are like, nah, not at all. Watch me just drill this one. And he just whiffs. And it's great TV. It's great TV.
It is
great TV. But to your point, there are so many people watching college football now because of all the spectacle and stuff. And so I think I love it even more that there are college players who with even more eyes on them are still being very bold about their faith and going to pray for their team. Or there was a player at Boise State who gave a shout out to his coach for like introducing him to God. And it was just like really beautiful. We actually have a clip of that if we can play that, Cameron.
First, I want to start off and say, glory to Jesus Christ. He's the true champion. Coach D, you changed my life. You changed my life. I did not know God until I got to Boise State. And I serve a true champion. Jesus Christ is the only true God. He died, rose from the dead 3 days later. That's the champion that I serve. And thank you, Coach D. Like, seriously, you changed my life.
Hey, listen. Funny stunts, maybe live animals, profuse vomiting, and an altar call at the end. They've turned college football into a 90s youth group, and I'm here for it.
That is. It's a 90s youth group. I love it. Oh, man. There you go. But, we talked about this. We're not going to belabor the point, but we did talk about this like a month or two ago when Jameis Winston in the NFL was talking so boldly about their faith. It feels like something's going on. There's like right after that, the group chat, like Jay Nivey or somebody for the Pistons was talking openly about his faith after a game. And like Derek sent that over. He goes, I think you're right that something's shifting. Like athletes, it's not just like, I want to thank God for the win. I mean, it's like athletes are talking about sincere, bold faith. Jalen Suggs on the Magic, J.I. Like these guys are living it out and like talking about it boldly, like more boldly than I talk about my faith. Like, so good for them. It's really cool to see. Keep it up.
Keep up the good work, team. All right, moving on to the last thing.
And I have a new life goal that I want to get married by a Cheez-It one day. So just FYI.
Officiated, yeah. The co-officiant is Cam Scattaboo, who is just, because if he's there,
he's the ring bearer.
Yeah, exactly. He just comes storming down the aisle, then profusely vomits.
He throws the ring, runs, catches it.
And then vomits, hands it in the ring. Yeah. And then gets it all over the Cheez-It. It's really gross.
Yeah,
it's the whole thing.
He got into the Cheez-Its before the wedding. Bad idea before.
The Cheez-Its, like the family pet got into the Cheez-Its and then vomited all over the place.
Prior to sprinting, his 40-yard dash is just a sprint down the aisle.
My God.
With a belly full of Cheez-It and Dr. Pepper from that little toss.
I'm like,
okay. Moving on to the very last thing I want to talk about. Okay. Have you guys seen those studies about, or those reports that older generations are kind of like putting off retirement or getting back into work just because of like financial problems? Like they can't afford to, they basically retire. Have you seen anything about that?
Yeah, I have.
About the old people can't retire at 65?
Yeah.
They don't have enough savings. Yeah.
Sure. Well, so apparently Gen Z and younger millennials are looking at that and deciding, since I'm probably not going to be able to retire later, I'm going to go ahead and do micro retirements now because there's this new trend happening.
What could go wrong?
where Gen Z and young millennials are taking basically a sabbatical. They're taking like weeks or months, if not a full year off to vacation or travel or focus on their mental health.
It's not taking a few weeks off. That's just PTO. It's like they're literally quitting their job for a year.
An extended amount of time. Yeah. Basically, yeah. So the people are, there's this new trend called micro retirements. And it's just really interesting to kind of see this trend rising. And I'm curious if it's going to stick around or if this is just this is only going to be around for a few years.
I saw your write-up about this and it got me thinking like, the self-awareness of burnout is interesting. That angle of like, all right, I've been grinding for 10 years, 5 years of my career. I'm going to take a year to travel or whatever. I've been saving up and whatever. I'm going to live my life while I'm young. I don't want to just wait till I'm 65. I get that. That's interesting. I remember like the mindset of like your resume is everything. So if you're looking for another job and there's a gap in your resume, how are you going to address that? Right. It looks like you're lazy or you couldn't get a job. That's bad. And your write-up talked about people who then re-enter the job market after taking a year off. And they said, I did a micro retirement. I traveled. This is what I did. And like the recruiters and the interviewers are like, that sounds amazing. I want to do that. And it actually was a boom to the candidate, not looking like they were, flaky or something. So,
yeah. I think like, I don't know if it's maybe the way they're framing it in the interview or just our mindset of taking rest has shifted because we've all experienced burnout. But yeah, a lot of these recruiters are seeing it as a positive, like, oh, you have good work-life balance, which and
you're rested and recharged now, so you'll be a great employee for us, for the next couple of years.
Yeah. As long as it's done with like some degree of, as long as it's not framed as like just abandonment of like, oh, I'll probably never retire anyway. Might as well just kind of blow it all out. You know what I mean? Like I think there's still
the prodigal son story kind of teaches us a lesson about that.
I mean, the borrowers are slaves to the lender. Like, so be careful early in your life if you're, just throwing complete caution to the wind without thinking about steps to, hopefully have some degree of security at some point, so that, I mean, look, there's calculated risk, right? That's different. And making decisions that you're kind of betting on yourself versus, I just don't want to work anymore. You know what I mean? Like, I think, people just, that's just something I feel like to probably be aware of.
Yeah.
Agreed.
It is. This trend's interesting to me too, because I mean, y'all know 3 years ago, I didn't take a retirement, but I did travel for a full year. And so I still worked full time. But I loved traveling. Like, it was really fun going to a new place and taking little vacations in different spots around the country or the world. And I don't know, if you can take a sabbatical, do it. If you can travel and work at the same time, do it. Dude,
for sure. I mean, there are times trips I regret not taking for, like, I should save right now, or I really should stay home for this or that. There are 1,000. You're going to have more regrets on the trips you didn't take versus the ones you did.
Exactly. That's why you need to stop saying no to go into summer league with me in July.
I know. It's yeah. No, I get it, because I never look at a trip and be
You're
like,
going to regret it if we don't go this year.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I never look at a trip and be like, man, I regret going on that. Like, that I could have used this time. It's every time it's like, man, that was fun. I'll remember that forever. You know what I mean? So that's the other side of the coin. I'm not trying to be the old curmudgeon. I'm just
you already had an old curmudgeon
not at the expense of.
I don't like the apps. Don't ask me how I know. You heard about you.
Listen, it's not that I don't see their validity. I just don't like it. It's not with age. It's just,
don't make me download an app.
It's not with age. I'm technically proficient. I've been working in digital media my entire adult life. I just don't like it. I just, like, I got my, I was setting up an Xbox at my house.
Did we lose him?
I was going to say, did he freeze for you?
No. We lost him. Okay, so there you go. We lost Jesse. So normally
let's not say lost Jesse. His connection,
his power went out.
Literally, there we go. Yeah.
So I'm telling you, a couple of minutes just passed, and I'm giving you the update. He called me. Their power just went out, and he can't join us for the rest of the show. So guess what? That'll do it for Relevant Buzz. Make sure to check out relevantmagazine.com every day, where we are covering the intersection of faith, culture, and everything in between. Thanks, Emily. All right, stay tuned. Up next, after this break, it's King's Kaleidoscope.
Today's podcast is brought to you in part by John Mark Comer's book, Garden City, a book that speaks to the tension we all feel between work, rest, and purpose. The New York Times bestselling author John Mark Comer takes us to the scriptures to identify what it really means to be human and flips the script on the idea that who you are matters, not what you do. He shows that God created us for meaningful work and meaningful rest. Both matter. This book helps you ask and answer the big questions. Does God care where I work? Is there a direction for my life? So you can discern God's heart for your calling, your rhythms, and the way His Spirit wants to shape every part of your life. If you're longing for purpose and a more grounded way to live, check out the new hardcover edition of Garden City wherever books are sold.
Well, today's show is brought to you in part by the new book, God, the Science, the Evidence. We talk a lot about faith, but how often do we talk about science in the same breath? You might be surprised to discover just how deeply the two actually agree. For centuries, science has been used to dismiss the idea of God, but today an intellectual revolution is underway. Modern discoveries in physics, cosmology, and biology are consistently revealing the same truth: creation isn't an accident. That profound reversal is what engineers Michel-Yves Bolloré and Olivier Bonassi investigate in their international bestseller, God, the Science, the Evidence. This book is a rigorous, evidence-based critique of materialism, inviting you to explore over a dozen scientific, philosophical, and historical domains. It shows that what was once seemed impossible, that science could point to a creator, is now supported by a vast and convergent body of evidence. With over 400,000 copies sold in Europe, this book is sparking a global debate. It's thoughtful, fascinating, and a powerful reminder that reason itself affirms the existence of God. Learn more and find out where you can purchase your copy today by visiting godthesciencetheevidence.com.
Today's podcast is brought to you in part by Erwin McManus's book, The Barbarian Way. Some books don't just inspire you, they confront you. The Barbarian Way, now celebrating its 20th anniversary, is one of those books. If you felt the pull of God towards something deeper and wilder than the safe, predictable version of faith that we settle for, McManus reminds us that following Jesus was never meant to be tame. It's meant to awaken courage, passion, and purpose God placed inside us. He draws from the wild stories of Abel, Noah, Moses, Rahab, and others to remind us that following God wasn't meant to be tame. Safe faith isn't working. Step into the story God is writing for you. Choose passion, choose boldness, choose the barbarian way. Available now wherever books are sold.
Well, our guest today is King's Kaleidoscope. They're one of our favorite Christian bands who are constantly experimenting and pushing the mold on what Christian music can and should sound like. We sat down with Chad Gardner to hear about their new intimate project called Modern Psalms, and he opened up about how King's Kaleidoscope is trying to be a refuge for anyone wrestling with their faith. Here's Emily's conversation with King's Kaleidoscope.
Well, I'm really excited to talk to you about this Modern Songs project you're dropping today, which I've seen you describe as an immersive virtual performance. And the first thing I want to know is, what exactly does a King's Kaleidoscope immersive virtual performance entail?
Well, basically King's Kaleidoscope, the last 2 years, we released 2 full-length albums and did 2 national tours. And so this was our quote-unquote down cycle year. It was like, we need to find something fun and creative to do. And our manager has always said, why don't you do an acoustic tour? Your band is so big, you do these huge bombastic shows, and like, why don't you do something acoustic? And I've always said, like, there's no way. That's what you do when you're like washed up and you do songs and stories tours. And I refuse. And I said, the only way I'd ever do that if it was just me, an acoustic guitar, and an LED wall and like video. And so another guy on our team was like, you know, listening to this, and he's like, our other kind of operations guy, JJ, he said, hey, there's a lot of 5 overhead projectors from the University of Washington Art Department on Craigslist for $200. What if we mess with these? And that's all it took to get me creatively inspired to have a new playground for 2024. And so literally, like, I'm pretty visually inspired. And so we got these overhead projectors and started thinking like, wow, you can put like prisms in front of them, and you can, like, what if we built motors on them with my robotics engineer of a cousin. We put these motors on them, and we're printing 20-foot long scrolls of overhead transparencies, you know, and like doing all this stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, now an acoustic show built around this sort of creative outlet is much more of an immersive visual experience. It's a little bit more, has like a sort of a performance art element to it, because we ended up, you know, using 3 musicians on stage, everything stripped down, super minimal. And we have a 4th person, my friend Zach, who's, you know, he's performing all these visuals on these old school overhead projectors. And the whole thing was just a fun experiment. We said, let's just play a few shows on the West Coast and for fun, basically. And by the last show, which was at the House of Blues in Anaheim, I thought, like, this is a top like 3 or 5 show of my life. This is so much fun. This is so different. There was so much contemplative space in this show. The performances, we kept like just working on stuff. We'd finish a show and be like, oh, what if we did this with the projectors instead? Or really, it was like what we wanted to play with in a down cycle year. And it I think because we have that attitude with it, it just has so much life and playfulness. And we created our own little contemplative, quiet, there's a lot of space in it show, and it just worked. So that's a long answer. I'm giving you the whole deal here. But basically, you know, after playing the shows and them working and the experiment working, we right before Christmas, before the end of the year, when it was kind of still fresh for us, we filmed it. We filmed a live performance of it. And because it's not a tour we were going to take, you know, all around the world or anything, we're doing a live stream with it to just give people the opportunity to kind of come to our playground with us.
As you were putting this together, was there maybe like a narrative or a message that you were wanting to convey to the audience?
I wouldn't say we have a story to convey, like a narrative per se. I think, as I said at the beginning, we're coming off of back-to-back years of big tours and full-length album releases. So what naturally happens after that is there's a lot of like self-reflection and a lot of thought to, all right, what are we actually doing here? Because we're not in the busyness or the kind of tornado of releasing music and touring. And I think we had a lot of conversations this year about what actually is King's Kaleidoscope for people, and our little niche band. Like, what are we bringing to the world, and like, what is it that we do naturally, and how do we kind of define it? And that's where the modern Psalms language, we started using that language internally. And I think it's because I was a worship director and I was arranging hymns for church, and a lot of people found out about us because I was doing that. But as soon as we started writing our own songs, I started writing a lot of songs that they're basically psalms. They're prayers. They're frustrated sometimes they're more like praise oriented, but we've never, for as worshipful as a band as King's Kaleidoscope is, outside of a few hymn arrangements before we were writing our own music, we've never really written songs that churches can sing. So what is that? It's like a very worshipful focus, but it's very personal. And I think that's what reading Psalms feels like. And so we just started using this phrase this year, modern Psalms. And so when we were rating the catalog for what acoustic songs to do, it felt like, oh, we're really presenting lyrics more than wild musicality. And we're really presenting these, each one of these songs sort of own perspective and just place where I was at with faith or prayer or whatever it is, just kind of, on its own without a lot of bells and whistles. So a lot of that modern Psalms language, it just comes from us trying to understand what we've been doing the last 10 years. Our band turned 10 this year. We celebrated our 10-year anniversary of like releasing albums. And so that was also causing us a lot of reflection time.
So you mentioned that last year King's Kaleidoscope was kind of reflecting on its purpose, and I'm curious, did that time of reflection change anything for you? Like, is King's going to be doing something different over the next 10 years or what?
All right, so this is one I don't know, I don't really know what to say here, except for this is kind of funny. So I went and saw, our team went and watched like the Elevation worship show, and I was like pleasantly very, very surprised. I was like, wow, okay, this feels like pretty dialed in the ways that I thought personally I would really not enjoy it. And we were on our way back home, we were thinking, okay, King's Kaleidoscope show feels very worshipful a lot of ways, but this is a different thing. And so what's like the difference? And the difference between an Elevation worship church or Elevation, stadium show and a King's Kaleidoscope club show is that I think everybody in the Elevation audience loves church. And I would say maybe half of the audience in the King's show loves church. And so like you're saying, what's for the next 10 years? I don't know how to answer that, but I know that immediately we have realized that our audience is resonating with these psalm type songs that we create very naturally, that are about faith, that are to God, that are conversations with God. They resonate really deeply with them. But this is an audience that there's a large part of it that wants nothing to do with church and really feels out of place and has a hard time with it. which is fine. Church is a very complicated topic. But immediately my thought has been in sort of this like burden that keeps coming back to me is, what can King's Kaleidoscope do in the next season that sort of serves those people in a way that a church would without being a church? Like, can they come to a King's Kaleidoscope show in 2025 and it be something that's spiritually just beneficial, and like can we be used in the way that these people really need us to be used? Like, I'm fumbling on my words here, but King's Kaleidoscope has an audience of people that want to worship and can't find a church where they can do it at. And so I want to be able to design a tour in this next season that helps facilitate that in some way.
It's interesting that you feel like half your audience is in this sort of theologically wrestling space. Do you feel like you've intentionally tried to make music for that community, or why do you think that they're connecting with you so much? Well,
back to that difference of what it feels like to be at a like major worship event. There's such a clear purpose at those things, which is everybody is coming in there knowing the songs. Those are the songs they sing at their churches, every Sunday, and they're there to worship in a very specific way. And I think it's actually really beautiful. But the King's Kaleidoscope audience, because it maybe is more, doesn't know what it thinks about church or maybe God, it's a little bit more of they're coming to a show to witness me wrestle with faith through the lyrics and the psalmy type stuff that I'm singing. And I think they may resonate with that, and there's worshipful points in that. But I think because the door is cracked open a little bit more where they can just kind of watch me wrestle through faith, that's a different thing than everybody, we're going to sing this right now to God. When somebody might not be ready to, they don't know what they think. But if they can witness me kind of pour out my heart to God in a lot of different ways, I think that just creates space for an audience that is just on a different part of the discipleship path, But I kind of just still see everybody as on the same, like everybody's on the path, Like if you desire to know God in a way, or even if you're curious, it like puts you on the path. You know what I mean? But it might not be the place where you're like walking in the church door because and the service is like, raging. But you might go to a King's show or put on a King's album because it's just a little further ahead from where that more congregational element is.
I wonder, but I want you more. Infinity is just the floor. No matter what I'm searching for.
That was King's Kaleidoscope. Make sure to check out their new intimate project. It's called Modern Psalms. Well, I was going to say after this break, we got our game, but we lost Jesse. So you know what? I think we should just wrap it, Emily. Just wrap up. We'll save the game. It's a great game. We should save it for next week's show.
We'll save it for next week.
All right. Well, many thanks to Chad Gardner for joining us. Like I just said, make sure to check out their new project, Modern Psalms. Also, make sure to check out relevantmagazine.com, where we are covering lots of stuff every day. Follow us on all the socials. By the way, thanks for all the engagement on IG, everybody. We're getting a lot of traction over there. We've been posting. Hey, imagine this. We post consistently for a month and things grow. Look at that. Look at us. There's some sort of spiritual lesson in there. Follow us on, we're at Relevant Magazine on Instagram. We're at Relevant on X and Relevant on Facebook as well. Okay, on that note, we'll wrap it. I'm Cameron Strang.
I'm Emily Brown.
And for Jesse Carey, we'll see you on Tuesday. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Thanks for listening to the Relevant Podcast.
Check out our features, interviews, and news updates every day at relevantmagazine.com. And make sure to follow Relevant on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for the latest. For more great podcasts, browse the shows on the Relevant Podcast Network, which you can find at our site. And while you're there, don't miss the all-new era of Relevant Magazine. A new issue releases every other month at relevantmagazine.com.
Funny stunts, maybe live animals, profuse vomiting, and an altar call at the end. They've turned college football into a 90s youth group, and I'm here for it.
Relevant Podcast Network.